Hello students, welcome to this special edition. This JEE Main Test 76 I have solved now and I am doing the analysis. Tell you this is not an easy paper. I can say only 3 questions were direct or easy, 7 were tough and 15 were medium. I have regarded medium as those which are direct results. They might be tough for you. This is not going to be an easy paper. It's a really challenging paper. You have questions from constrained motion which are actually very good, and plus other questions are also very nice. It's going to be a challenging paper. Anyone who is just average in physics, if you get 40 plus in this paper, you have escaped from a danger. And for the students who are looking for JEE Advanced in something, so they should get 70-75. They should feel happy if they get 70-75, and those who are just preparing for mains and whose percentiles are not very high, scoring 40 would be very good in this paper. It's actually a challenge. So let's begin. A Bohr hydrogen atom undergoes a transition 5 to 4, emits a photon of frequency nu. Frequency of circular motion of electron in n equal to 4 orbit is nu 4. The ratio nu by nu 4 is going to be. So here it's I can say it's perhaps a ragging for you, because you need to remember that exact expression. So first of all, this h nu that I'll say is RHC, and if I write that value completely, it comes out as m e to the power 4 8 epsilon naught square h square z square by n square. So z square is 1 and 1 upon 4 square minus 1 upon 5 square. This is your first equation. Now the frequency of revolution, if you remember f or nu 4, whatever I generally write is at f. The f expression you remember is, if you remember, is me4 4 epsilon naught square h square z square by n cube. So here that f or nu 4, I can write nu 4 would be m e to the power 4 epsilon naught square h cube, sorry, not square, square was there, h cube, and z square is 1, n cube is 4 cube. So this is 2. So the ratio nu by nu 4, if you will do this nu, this h cube will come here, so this is completely cancelled. So it would be 1 upon 8, and 5 square minus 4 square, 25 minus 16 is 9 upon 25 into 16, and nu 4 you will have is 1 upon 4 into 64. So what you have, put it above, 4 into 64 into 9, 8 into 25 into 16. So what we have, 16 4s are 64, 4 is this 2, this is whatever we are left with, this is 2, so this is 18 by 25. So go for option A. Again you need to remember this, otherwise deriving it is not that easy, because you need to remember that velocity expression, that radius expression, it's not easy. Next, figure shown below, calculate the net current and the net resistance. So look at the figure. First of all, this is 5 5 5, this is 5 5 5. So because of this input output symmetry, you can understand, let's say if I say this is I1 enter here, this is I2 enter here, this one will be I1, this one will be I2, so there is no mixing, plus this and this both are identically symmetric. Like in the Wheatstone bridge, it's best to check, just remove them first. If I remove these two, what I'll see, the B and E must be at same potential because of symmetry, and C and F must be at same potential, so connecting them won't affect anything. So these two will be show pieces only, you can directly remove them. Now these three are in series, these three are in series, so 15 and 15 in parallel, this is 7.5 ohms. This is going to be the R equivalent, that is 15 by 2. So from here only you can go for option A. You can find out the current also if you wish. This is 10 upon 7.5, which comes out as 4 by 3 amperes. So again, just a symmetry based question, you have to be careful to check the symmetry. Next, a long solenoid is made of a wire with n turns per unit length. The radius of the cylinder is A and is negligible as compared to length. Okay, interior of the cylinder is filled with material such that the linear magnetic permeability is varying with distance r, as it is mu1 for till B, and for B2A it is mu2. Okay, the self inductances. So if I draw it like this, let's say this is the solenoid's cross section, I'll see, and it would be something like this. This is till B, one material, this is till B2A, second material. So both will be in series, and if I remember the formula for L for inductance, or for air filled was mu naught n square A by L, I remember. So for this first one, L1 would be mu1 n square, area of this would be pi b square into L. Okay, for the outer one, this L2, this would be mu2 into n square, it would be pi b square minus a square, so write it like this, into L. And because they will be in series, so L equivalent, you know, like would be like a resistor here, it follows, not like a capacitor. So it's L1 plus L2, so I can take pi n square L common, it would be mu1 b square plus mu2 times b square, sorry, a square minus b square, a is bigger, so I should be careful with this. This is a square minus b square, so it is a square minus b square. So going by the option, it would be option C. So again, a nice question, nicely designed one. Next, mi of a circular ring of mass 1 kg about an axis through its center and normal to its plane, you know that is mr square. So this mr square is 4, so r square is what? 4 by 1, 4 meter square, so radius is 2 meter. You are asked the diameter, so diameter will be 4 meter, so don't tick 2, it is diameter, so it should be 4. Next, a rifle with a muzzle speed of 100 shoots a bullet at a small target 30 meter away in the same line. How high above the target must the gun be aimed so that the bullet hits the target? So here you have something like this. This distance is 30 meter, you are throwing with 100. So let's say you should aim somewhere here like this, so that if you throw it, it goes like this. So basically range is 30, and let's say this angle is theta, let's say this is y. So first of all, range you know is u square sine 2 theta by g, that is 30. So from here sine 2 theta comes out as 30 into 10 upon u square is 100 into 100. So this 0000 goes, so it is 0.03, so it is very very small. So you can put it approximately as 2 theta, or theta is 0.015 radian, and that would be 10 theta also. Then 10 theta is 0.015, and from the triangle that you can say it is y by 30. So y comes out as 30 into 0.015, which comes out as 0.45 meters. So again, a standard one if you have practiced it, otherwise you will feel it tough. Next, two particles m and 4m separated by L, the distance of cm from m is x1. So what is distance of cm from m? It would be somewhere here closer to 4m, and if I call it as x1, you remember this x1 would be 4m into L upon 4m plus m. That comes out as 4L by 5. Now x2 is the distance of a point at which gravitational field is 0. So gravitational field will be 0 closer to this, let's say this be x2. So field is 0, so gm upon x2 square must balance g into 4m upon L minus x2 whole square. So taking the root, 1 upon x2 is 2 upon L minus x2. So L minus x2 is equal to 2x2. So x2 comes out as L. So what we have now, so the ratio x1 by x2 if I do would be 4 by 5 upon 1 by 3, that comes out as 12 by 5, which comes out as 2.4. So C1, this is a very nice question, very good question design. Next, two bodies 1 kg 4 kg again connected to vertical spring. Smaller mass executes SHM of frequency 25 and amplitude this, while the bigger one remains stationary. The maximum force exerted by the system on the floor is, okay. So first of all, the maximum force on the floor will be when the spring is maximum compressed, and you will say this is N, and that would be equal to F spring max plus mg of this one, m2g, let's say I write it. Now first of all, this omega of the 1 is given would be root k1 by m, root k by m1 I should write. So root k by m1 is 25, so root k or k comes out as, write it as small k only. So k would be 25 into 25 as m is 1, so that is 625 Newton per meter. Now first of all, in equilibrium spring will be compressed, and that equilibrium compression would be kx naught equals to 1 into 10. So x naught is equal to 10 by k. Okay, so this is the equilibrium extension. So therefore, compression. So maximum compression would be this x naught plus a, that is 10 by k, plus if I convert in SI unit is 0.016. So the F spring max, it is kx max, that is k into 10 by k, that's 0.016. So it comes out as 10 plus k is 625 into 0.016. So what we have, 16 5s are 80, 16 2s are 32, and 8 40, 16 6s are 96, and 400. So it comes out as 10.000. So this F spring comes out to be 20 Newton. So now this N will be, maximum would be, N max I can write would be this F spring max 20 plus 40, so it comes out as 60 Newtons. So it's again a very nicely designed question, answer should be 60 Newton. Next, your mole of a gas of 7 by 5 mixed with 1 mole of gas of gamma 4 by 3. What would be the gamma for the mixture? Standard formula you know, N1 plus N2 over gamma mix minus 1 is N1 upon gamma 1 minus 1 plus N2 upon gamma 2 minus 1. Remember this formula, I always advise my students to remember this particular thing. So it's 1 plus 1 gamma mix minus 1, 1 upon 7 by 5 minus 1 plus 1 upon 4 by 3 minus 1. So it is 5 by 2 plus 3. So it's 11 by 2, and this is 2 upon gamma mix minus 1. So gamma mix minus 1 would be 4 by 11. So gamma mix you can say is 15 by 11. So go for option A, again a standard one if you remember this particular result. So these are the 8 questions. Now the 9th one. Two identical glass bulbs are interconnected by a thin glass tube. A gas is filled at NTP. If one is placed in ice, another inside a hot bath, then the pressure of the gas becomes 1.5 times the temperature of the hot bath will be. So here what will happen? The pressure will always remain the same. Initially they were filled at NTP, so we will have that pressure as 1 and temperature as 273. So now what we will have? So we will say the initial moles N1 plus N2 will be N1 final plus N2 final, because amount of gas can change but total amount will remain same. So N1 was initial P naught V upon RT naught plus P naught V upon RT naught. Again it is still temperature is that T naught 273, so I can write it as P final V upon RT final plus T naught plus P final V upon RT of hot bath. So this V goes, R goes. So this P naught was 1 plus 1, I can say 2 by 2 naught TT naught, that is 2 by 273, that is P final 1 upon. Now final pressure is 1.5 times, so it would be 1.5 and it would be 1 upon 273 plus 1 upon TH. This is 2 by 273, so if I put it here it will be, let's say 3 by 2, so it becomes 4 by 3 into 273 minus 1 upon 273 becomes 1 by TH. So this 1 by TH comes out as 1 by 3 into 273, so TH is thrice into 273, that is what you can write. This is 9, this is 1, this is 2719, okay, this is 719 Kelvin, or if you convert it, it would be 546 degrees Celsius for sure. Next, water is being poured in a vessel at a constant rate alpha. There is a small hole of the area A at the bottom. The maximum level of water in the vessel is, so maximum level of the water in the vessel we'll say when this dV by dt terms become 0, or you can say the incoming rate alpha minus outgoing rate. The outgoing rate is AV becomes 0, and we know V is equal to root 2 GH, that becomes 0. So you can say A into root 2 GH equals alpha, so H becomes alpha square upon A square 2G. Again this is an standard result, a very important question generally taught to the IIT students for sure. I don't, so you definitely can do this. Next, star initially has 10 to the power 40 neutrons. It produces energy via this process, okay. If the average power radiated by the star is 10 to the power 16 watt, the neutron supply of the star is exhausted in a time of the order of, okay. So if I do this calculation, I can make it out basically if I club both. So in first of all, if I do this, this will be the masses you are given of all the things. So if I club the both, what I will have 3 times 2H1 gives basically 4 helium-2 plus a proton plus a neutron. That is what we are getting. So in this whole, the 3 are consumed and the energy liberated delta E, that would be delta M into C square. So delta M, if I do, this is 3 into 2H1, which comes out as 3 to 4s are what we have 12. This is 4, this is 0, 6.042 minus if I do, this is 4 helium plus add the 3, so 1 plus 7, 8, 8 plus 8, 16, and this 1, 1, 1, this is 0 and this is 6. So 6.016 and C square is 931.5 MeV you typically write per U, so you will cancel. So per this reaction what we have 0.23 I can write, and not 2, it should be 42 minus 16 will be 26 I can say. So 0.026 into 931.5 MeV, or to do a little easier one, you take it as 930. So it is 93 into 0.26 MeV. So it's basically comes out as, and do it in joules now, 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 13 joules. So what we'll have left with, so 26 into 16 I should do, 16 6 are 96, 16 2s are 32 and 9 416. So it would be 0.416 into 10 to the power minus 13 joules. So again do this approximation or do it 93 into 0.42. So what we have, this is this is the energy we get from 3 deuterons. So 3 deuterons produces this much energy, so 10 to the power 40 deuterons will give 93 by 3 into 0.42 into 10 to the power minus 13 into what I can write 10 to the power 40. So what we will left with, this is 3, this would be 0.14. So 93 into 0.14, 14 3s are 42, 14 9s are 126 and 4 130. So it is 130.2, or you can write it as 13.02 into 10 to the power 27. This is what we are getting, joules, and this is 10 to the power 16 watts. So you can easily make out it will last till 10 to the power 12 seconds. That is approximation you can do. So again, calculation it has. The mass m shown in figure oscillates in SHM with amplitude A. The amplitude of the point P is, again, this is a question that has been asked in JEE itself. So what we will say, let's say this amplitude is A1, this amplitude is A2. So what we'll have, K1 A1 would be equals to K2 A2 because they are in series, and A1 plus A2 is equals to A. So going by the logic, the amplitude of the point P, that would be of K1, so that is A1 will be equals to K2 upon K1 plus K2 into A. So it comes out as what we have. We'll go for option, what one? We have C1. Next one. The photosensitive surface is receiving the light of 5000 angstrom at this rate. The number of photons received per second is, so the, let's say, n times h nu or hc by lambda would be equals to this power. So n would be power is 10 to the power minus 8, lambda hc by lambda, hc is 1240 I can write, and this is 500, and if I convert it, it would be 1.6 into 10 to the power minus. Now doing this, this 0 0, let me, this is completely cancelled. Let's say 0 and 0, let me do it again. I've selected the wrong thing. Yeah, so this 0 and 0 get cancelled, and what you have, this is 10 to the power minus 8, 10 to the power minus 19, 19 and 8 is 10 to the power 11, and is 50 upon 124 into 1.6, approx is 22 to 25 I can go. So I can do 10 to the power 10 and 500, so it would be, what we have, approximately 2 point something I'll go for, or 220 something, not I'm doing exactly, it is 2 point something into 10 to the power 10, so I'll go for 2.5 into 10 to the power 10, closest 21 will be like this. Next, a solid cone of height h, radius r, suspended by a string is just submerged in a liquid of density rho such that the tension in the string is 0. Okay, the magnitude of the net force applied by the liquid on the curved surface of the cone is equal to, so what would be that? So how to do this? Because tension has become 0, because the tension has become 0, I can say the net force exerted by liquid, the net force exerted by this pressure difference of the liquid, or the buoyancy that you say, would be equal to the weight. And the weight, if you are given the density, you are not given any density. Okay, you are given only the density of the liquid. Okay, so it's simply I'll write it that buoyant force would be, that is the density of the liquid into volume submerged. Volume submerged, you know, is 1 by 3 pi r square h. Now out of this, the bottom one force, the way this is the force of buoyancy total, and a force from the bottom one, force from the bottom one would be equal to P naught plus rho g h into that area, that is pi r square. So from the curved surface, I can say F from the curved plus F from the bottom, that is equal to the net force, which is the F total or F buoyancy you can write here, that is upwards. So this upward force, this is upward, this is upward, so this F from curved would be subtraction of this is rho by 3 pi r square h minus P naught plus rho g h into pi r square. So going by this, what we will have now, this force, I can write it as, I'll take a pi r square common by 3, I take as common. Okay, so what it will be, it would be rho times h I am getting, and this would be g also. I missed that g to factor everywhere, so be careful about it. That is rho h g I get, minus what I will get, it would be 3 p naught, and it would be 3 rho g h I am getting it. So what we are left with, so that magnitude would be not downward, that would be not would be upward, that would be downward. So I am just checking the magnitude, negative sign will be, you know what it means, so take that negative out. So that would be 2 rho g h, 2 rho h g plus 3 p naught, that is what we are getting. So it's option C, again a very nice question, and that would be downward, you can make it out, because these forces, net component would be downward here from the curved surface. So this is a nicely designed one, so paper is actually impressing a lot. Next, line PQ is parallel to y-axis, mi of a rigid body about PQ line is this. Okay, where x is in meter, I is in kg meter per square, the minimum value of I is, okay, so what is the minimum value of I? So it's a simple question of your mathematics thing, when it would be minimum, you know, at maxima or minima, di by dx has to be 0. At extremum, the derivative would be 0, first derivative. So 4x minus 12 is 0, so x comes out as, what we have, 12 by 4, 3, sorry. So x is 3, so I minimum would be 2 into 3 square minus 12 into 3 plus 27, what you have, 9 2 is 18 minus 36 plus 27, it comes out as 18 minus 9, 9 kg meter square. If you solve it, it is option D. So it's again a nicely one, it's a easy one. It's a next one. In the following circuits, PN junction diodes G1, D2, D3 are assumed to be ideal. For the following potential of A and B, the correct increasing order of resistance between A and B is okay. If the resistance between the potential difference between A and B is the potential is minus 10 and this is minus 5. So what we have, this is at lower, so it won't conduct. It won't conduct, it will conduct. So you have R by 4, R by 4 and R. So for this case, you have 3R by 2. Now, minus 5 and 10, reverse it. So minus 5 and minus 10, it will work, it won't work, it will work. So it would be parallel R by 2. So R by 2 plus R by 2 is R. And minus 4 minus 12, it will be again R. So because it is the same thing. So you have minimum in the case of 2 and 3. So increasing order would be 2 equal to 3 less than 1. So 2 equal to 3 less than 1. So see, it's an easy one, but asked in a very smart manner. Next, the viscosity of a gas depends on the long range attractive part of the intermolecular force, which varies with separation like this. Neat as a function of the mass m of the molecules, their mean speed v, and the constant mu, then which of the following is correct? Okay, it's a nice thing. So it depends on the long range force, it depends on v, it depends on mu, which of the following is correct? Okay, so let's say that viscous force or the coefficient of viscosity. So what we have, this coefficient of viscosity, you always remember its dimension formula is what we say, f upon rv, because f is 6 pi r neta v, you remember that. So f is mlt minus 2 L, and this is lt minus 1. So this LL goes, this is m L minus 1 T minus 1. This is a very common question you did in 11th class. Now let neta be proportional to m to the power a v to the power b mu to the power c, like this. So it is m to the power a v to the power b mu to the power c. So now what we should have, the dimension must match up. So it is m L minus 1 T minus 1. Here it would be m to the power a v. V is what you know, velocity. Velocity is what we have, lt minus 1 to the power b, and mu. Mu from here is f upon f into r to the power n. So that would be m L n plus 1 into t minus 2. So comparing it, what we have, to the power c. So a plus c comes out as 1. So first of all, a plus c must come out as 1. Second, so this option is rejected. This option is also rejected, and this one is okay, and this one is also rejected. So no, this one is also coming, n minus 1, this is also 1. So we are left with a and b. Now next, if I compare for, let's say, L. So if I compare for L, what I have from here, this is b and this is c into n plus 1, that should be equals to minus 1 here. So this is what we are getting, b plus c into n minus 1 is equal to minus 1. So going by this, if I do this, this won't be there. So this can be the only option I am left with now, because a and b we were left with. Now this is because these two were already rejected. So if I do this, b, that is n plus 3 upon n minus 1 plus n plus 1 times c, that is n plus 1 into minus 2 upon n minus 1. If I do, it comes out as n plus 3 minus 2n minus 2 upon n minus 1. So it basically comes out as minus n minus 1 upon minus 1 plus n upon n minus 1, which is minus 1. So it is only the B option that I'll go for, rest all are incorrect. So B is the correct one I'll go for. Next, go the next 18 one. Now this is a very interesting one. You must have seen by the figure that you have done such question, I suppose. Shows plane waves refracted from air using Huygens principle. A, B, C, D are length of the diagram. The refractive index of air with respect to water is in the ratio. So here just remember, this angle you remember is I. So going by the logic, this will be I, and similarly this angle is R, and again by the logic this is R. So what you have, 1 into sin I is equal to n into sin R, or you can say this is n of water with respect to air. So n of water with respect to air is sin I by sin R. Now what is sin I in this triangle? In this triangle this angle is 90 degree, so sin I comes out to be this length C, yes, C, it is B, sorry, this is hypotenuse, so this would be B upon C, and sin R if you will do it is D by C, so this comes out as B by D. So going by the option, it will be option C for sure. So this is sin I by sin R, that comes out as. But wait a minute, here's a catch. Okay, I just missed it. It is air with respect to water, so you have to get the reverse of that, so be careful, otherwise you will lose marks even after doing everything. It is air with respect to water, so it would be D by B. So be careful while reading, because I committed a mistake. You should not do that. Next, the two loudspeakers are emitting sound waves of wavelength lambda with an initial phase pi by 2. At what maximum distance from O1 line AB one can hear the minimum distance, sorry. So first of all, because of this pi by 2 difference, the part this is won't be the maxima here. So because of this, you need to go somewhere here where the pi by 2 phase difference is induced, and that pi by 2 you will write it as d sin theta equals to pi by 2 here, and that sin theta you all remember is y by d equals to pi by 2, not pi by 2, sorry, the part difference you need to remember, not that. So the phase difference is 2 pi by lambda into d sin theta, that should be equals to pi by 2. So this comes out as lambda by 4. So y comes out as lambda d by 4d. So lambda is lambda, d is 100 lambda, okay, and this d is 3 lambda. So lambda goes, it is 25 by lambda by 3, that is what I am getting. So go for option D, that would be the most appropriate one. Yes, that is the answer. Next, go for the last straight objective, 20th. Block of mass M connected rigidly with a smooth wedge by a light spring of stiffness K. Wedge is moved with constant velocity V0. Find the work done by the external agent until the maximum. Now you remember the maximum compression will be when the block comes to rest with respect to cart, so that means the velocity of block becomes V0. So applying work energy theorem on block, W external plus W spring must be equals to delta K of block, that is half m V0 square. So the spring would be minus delta U spring, that you can write, or you can write it as minus half kx square, because its work would be negative, half k x max square, and W external is what you are required. So what we have, W external would be equal to half mv square plus half k x max square, that is what you are going to write. So what would be half kx square and half k max square, that we can go for. So because on the, with respect to, if I talk about this someone on this wedge, with respect to the wedge, the block was initially moving and now it is at rest. So with respect to the block, and because no pseudo force is acting, that half mv square energy is converted into half kx max square. So both must be same. So from here half mv square plus half mv square, it comes out as mv square. So go for option A, again a very nicely designed question. Next, shown in the figure is a block at rest having an inclined smooth groove in a vertical plane. The horizontal surface is smooth. The ball of the same mass as that of block at rest is released from the top end. The time when the ball will leave groove is, okay. So block is at rest in an incline. The horizontal surface is smooth. Ball of same mass as that of block. So both have the same mass at rest is released. The time when the block will leave groove is, okay. So what we will have now, as it goes here, let me take it. It will go backward, so it will go forward for sure. That is for sure. It will go backward, so it will go forward. There is no doubt about it. So going by the logics that we will be having at any instant, let's say relative to it, it will have a velocity, let's say v relative. So the component along this, and let's say it has a velocity vb. So if I write the complete momentum along x, it should be 0. So the block is mvb, and it should be balanced by that would be m times, and that would be v relative cos 60, and this would be subtracted because it is forward minus vb. So what we have, v comes out as 2 vb is equal to v relative cos 60. Cos 60 comes out as 1 by 2. So v of block is v. So here I can say acceleration of block will also be a relative by 4. Now what is relative acceleration? Let's say draw me the FBD here. This is mg. This one will be ma, pseudo force in frame of that, and that would be n. So in frame of that a relative, I can say m into a relative would be equal to mg sine of 60 plus ma cos of 60. So what we have, m goes, so a relative would be g root 3 by 2 plus a by 2. And now what we can say, this a of block A would be equal to a relative by 4, that is 1 by 4 of g root 3 by 2 plus a by 2, so that is 1 by 8 into g root 3 plus a. So what we get now, a minus a by 8, that is 7a by 8 is equal to g root 3 by 8. It goes, so a comes out as g root 3 by 7. So what is the acceleration of relative acceleration? The relative acceleration will now be 4 times of AB, that is 4g root 3 by 7. And now with respect to this, what we can say, half a relative into t square would be equal to this length, and this length is L. So t would be 2L upon a relative, which is g root 3 by 7 under root. So what we have, this comes out as, it will be, and I can make it out, it should be 14 or no, it should be 20, is 14 or 7 or what I'll get. This should, okay, putting this a relative, I missed this 4, so 4 will also be there. So now it comes in that form. So this would be 2 and 2, so it would be 7. So n is 7. Again, it's a really nice question, not an easy one, very nice question of the constraint and all. So this is how you will do it. Now, particle is suspended by a light vertical inelastic string of length L from a fixed support. At its equilibrium, it is projected horizontally with speed root 6 gl. What is the ratio of the tension in the horizontal position when it is vertically above? Root 6 gl, that means it will definitely do complete looping, let's say like this. So one is this point A, one is this point B. So first of all, at point A, you know the velocity at A would be 6 gl minus 2 gl under root, that is root 4 gl. So what I can say, tension at A would be mva square by L, that comes out as 4 mg. Now at B, you know B, tension would be down, mg would be down, Vb would be under root of u square minus 2g into 2L, that is 4gl, that is root 2gl. So what we have, T at B plus mg is equal to mvb square by L, which is 2 mg. So it comes out as mg. So TB is mg. So the ratio would be 4 mg upon mg. So it's an easy one. It would be 4 for you. Next, 1 kg block B rests on a bracket A, okay, of the same mass. Constant force 20 and 8 Newton, okay, are act at t equal to 0 when the distance of block B from the pulley is 50. The time in seconds when block B reaches the pulley in time t. Again, this is a nice, very nice question here. So first of all, let me see what is happening. This is 20 and this is 8. Okay, so if I look only this part, so this would be F2. So the net force on this part would be here. It would be 20 minus 16, that is 4 Newton. I can say that would be what it is. This drawing is coming. Okay, this 4 Newton would be equals to 1 into A of A. So acceleration of A comes out as 4 meter per second square towards left. Now in frame of A, now if I look at B, there would be pseudo force I can apply, that is 4 Newton and this is 8 Newton. So with respect to A, A of B with respect to A would be 4 meter per second square again towards left. So it is half into 4 into t square is 0.5. So t square comes out as 1 by 4. So t comes out as half a second. So 10t will come out as 5 seconds that you will go for. Again, a question on constraint. So this is actually a tough one going for you. Gap between the two identical concave thin lenses placed in contact is filled with certain liquid. The image of the object placed at 15 cm for combo shifts away from the lens by 5 by 4. If the refractive index of the liquid is mu, then write 3 mu as your answer. Okay. Now initially when the two lenses were there, 1 upon f equivalent is 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2. If I do, that is minus 1 by 10 minus 1 by 10. So this f equivalent comes out as minus 5 centimeters. Okay. So the image would be v at uf upon u plus f. So that is minus 15 into minus 5 upon minus 15 minus 5. This is minus plus 75 upon minus 20, that is minus 3.75. So because of that filling, it shifts by 5 by 4. That means away means that the new v dash will be addition of 1.25, that would be minus 5 centimeter for sure. So from here what we can do, I can directly go for is the combination is changing. So the combination is changing, what I can say, and this v dash is minus 5, so new f equivalent I can make out as 1 upon v dash minus 1 upon u. That is 1 upon minus 5 minus 1 upon minus 15 So it is minus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 15 I can write. So it is 15, it would be minus 2. So F equivalent is, you can write it 1 upon F equivalent as minus 2 by 15. So this minus 2 by 15 you can write it as, that is equal to minus of 1 by 5 initially plus 1 upon F dash, the additional one. So 1 upon F dash would be minus 2 by 15 plus 1 by 5. So what you will have, this is 15, this is minus 2 plus 3, that is 1 by 15. So the new additional one would be 15 centimeter. So this is 15 centimeter. So how you will do, first of all, from this data you know that radius of curvature would be, you know, F is r upon 2n minus 1, so the radius of curvature you calculate will be 10 centimeter. So what we will have, 1 upon 15 is, what I can write, it would be mu upon 3 by 2. I can say not 3 by 2, it would be with respect to air, because we take it everything with respect to air. So mu by 1 minus 1 into 1 upon r1, this is 1 upon 10, and it will also become 10, 1 plus 10 plus 1 by 10. So 1 by 15 is mu minus 1 into 1 by 5. So mu minus 1 comes out as, what is coming out as, mu minus 1 is not 3, it is coming out as 1 by 3. So mu comes out as 4 by 3. So 3 mu comes out as 4. So it's a nice question. Just remember, whenever you have things like that and you fill it with liquid, you take everything with respect to air. Don't do this mu upon 3 by 2, otherwise that would be wrong for you. So this mu comes out as 4, 3 mu comes out as 4. Again a nice question, calculative one. Next, a 0.1 kg block attached to a cord passing through a whole surface. Block is originally at distance 0.4 with angular speed this, and then it is pulled, shortening the radius to 0.2. Considering the block to be point mass, calculate the new angular velocity. Okay, so it is originally at this, and now it is then pulled from below, shortening the radius. So what we have, this tension produces, what we can say, this tension delivers no torque about this, mg and torques cancel, so L will remain conserved. So the logic remains, I1 omega 1 is I2 omega 2. Because you have made the distance half, so I will become 1 by 4. So I2 will become I1 by 4, omega 2, I1 omega 1. So omega 2 comes out as 4 times omega 1. So this new angular velocity is 4 times. Go for it. This was the easy one. So this was today's paper. It was a challenging one. Thanks for watching. Keep sharing the